Here's the book that I made for my book project. I called it Savannah Yates's print book. I used scrapbook stickers for the lettering. When putting together this book, I scored the inside cover so that it bends easier. And I put the pages in from smallest to largest, I guess. But yeah, I wanted to keep the small pages in the front so it'd be easier to find. The first two pages were from the dry point etching on the copper plate. Yeah. So that's what it looks like. The theme for that was how you think of a poem or a song and like how it makes you feel. So yeah, so one of the songs I chose made me feel really peaceful and calm. So it's like a meditation on like a mountain. Yeah. I rolled the ink onto the metal plate and then I did the paper wipe. I used damp paper in my burn to smooth it out. So the next few pages are from the lithograph project. The inking went pretty well for this. It was a new technique compared to like linoleum prints. I think I did 15 of these total. One of the struggles from this project probably was making sure that I either had the right amount of ink. So sometimes it'd be too heavy and sometimes it'd be too light. The paper was a little too big, so I had to trim it down to size. Here's an example of the ink being a little too light. The next part is about nightmares and phobias. So I had to come up with things that scared me. I don't like spiders, so that had to be in the sketches. And this part was my final draft of me mapping out what I wanted to print on the linoleum. And here's how it turned out. I'm really happy with this project because I was able to get the ink really dark and it didn't get really salty, so I was happy. Whoops, there you go. So I forget how many I made of these. It was a lot. One fear could be a spider landing on me and I wouldn't even know it. I changed that perspective so now that you're kind of seeing what the spider would see. I think the linoleum prints came out a little better than some of the other prints. The next part was the hand-colored linoleum project. It was kind of open theme, so I chose to do a horse because I like to draw horses. Yeah, I didn't have a paintbrush with me, so I kind of finger painted all of these with watered down acrylic. I just splattered the paint everywhere on this one. When finger painting, the mulberry paper would shed onto my fingers. The next part is the gel plate project. The idea was just to make as many marks and get different textures as you can. So I used acrylic paints and different materials to get the textures and images that you see. I also used my hand and my lips for this project. Oh, as well as feet. For these kind of marks, I used the back of like a pencil, so like the pencil eraser. And for this side, this was probably my favorite one because I love the way it turned out. It was the string pull method to make marks. So what I did was basically have the paper I wanted to print on, and I rolled out the, oh wait, I think I put it on the jelly plate first. So I laid the string out just kind of like in a bunch of loops and twists and turns. And then I had the paper on top, and I had another hard like flat surface object, so I pressed down on top of that and then pulled the string out. And that's how I'd make these crazy cool like flower mushroom looks. I'm really happy how this turned out because this is probably like actually my first time doing it with the string pull method. So that was a lot of fun. There's a lot of freedom with this part of the project, so I was able to experiment different textures. I love how this one turned out. So the rest of these are pretty much from the image printing from the gel pad with the magazine. And that was the first time I've ever tried that also. That one's the first magazine print I pulled. What the turtle knows. Once again, I had to have dogs in my piece somewhere. So I basically took the back of an old sketchbook and just like took it off and used that for the backing of the book. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The binding was hard because the holes were so small. Overall, I had a lot of fun with this project. Maybe I'll put printmaking and ceramics together.